And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am talking with none other than, really, ready? The world's #1 authority on trust-based selling, Mr. Ari Galper. Ari, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Well, you're welcome. It's funny because I interview a lot of business owners, a lot of experts, and a lot of people who are like #1 Amazon best-selling authors and things. I don't know that I've ever interviewed the world's #1 authority on anything. So it's pretty cool to have you here. What I want to talk about, Ari, is you wrote a book, one of your many books, by the way. It's called Unlock the Sales Game. And I want to talk about trust-based selling and how important that is as a game changer. But as we get into that, which I know we will, tell us the story behind you and who you are and how did you get here and your methodology and all that.
Sure. So basically, I'm from the US. I live in Sydney now, Australia. Been here for 20 years. I'm my wife online on a dating site, pre-swiping.
Really?
Photo and image. That's it. And we started emailing back and forth. We met
cool.
over there, came over here. So been here for about 20 years.
Okay.
So I'll tell you the story behind the concept. We'll kind of roll into this today.
Yeah.
So, but before I moved out here, I was a sales manager at a software company, and we launched the first online website tracking tools to collect data via the visitors on websites. Now it's called Google Analytics. It's a pretty popular tool. Back then, it cost money. Fast growing business, internet was taking off, and I was managing the whole team. And I got the leads that came across my desk that were pretty big opportunities. As one lead came across my desk, if I close this one sale, that's how big it was. I would double the revenue in one transaction. Big opportunity. I called the contact back. We had a great conversation. He agreed to a conference call and a demo to show him our product. And they finally came, and it was 4:00 in the afternoon in the conference room. My CEO, a closed door behind me, big long conference table in front of us on the phone with the table, a speakerphone with red legs on it, the old corporate speaker phones.
Yeah.
And I dial the number and he picks it up and he says, "Hey, Ari." He said, "Hey, John, how's it going?" And he says to me, "Ari, let me tell you who's with us today in the room." And I was like, "Oh, didn't know there'd be someone else there." Next thing I hear is, "My name is Mike, I'm CEO." I was like, "Oh, this is good." "My name is John, I'm head of IT." This is even better. "My name is Julie, I'm head of global marketing." This is even better. I was like, wow, everybody's here, all the decision makers,
It's going to be a good day.
This is a call hopefully as often as possible, obviously.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I introduced myself, explained what we do, then gave them a live web demo over the web of their websites being collected with data in real time, show them how it all works. And I'm showing this to them, and I'm starting this noise on the phone call like, wow, this is great. This is amazing. I can't believe we can see this. They start asking me all kinds of questions. How does it work? How do we install it? I mean, there was so much chemistry on this phone call. It was like a love fest on the phone.
There you go.
Know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yep. Been there.
It just feels so right. I mean, they got the questions. You got the answers. You're saying to yourself, oh man, that's a done deal right here.
Done deal. Yep.
And I was doing everything I was taught to do from the gurus. I had the CDs in my car back then. I had the books on my shelf. Yep. Remember the whole University on Wheels concept?
Yep, absolutely.
I had a Harvard in my car, basically.
That's great.
And so I was doing everything I was supposed to do. I was building rapport, answering objections. And so the call comes to a close, hour goes by, and my contact says to me, "Ari, we love it. This is great. Look, give us a call in a couple of weeks, follow up with us, and we'll move this thing forward." I said to myself, "Oh, thank you, guy." I was like, what a perfect ending to a call. Yeah. So I said my goodbyes, and I took my arm, and I reached for the phone in the middle of the table. I was reaching for the off button on the phone by complete accident. Now it's a divine intervention. My thumb hit the mute button instead of the off button.
Okay.
They were like right next to each other, and a small click happened, and they thought I hung up the phone. And in that split second, a voice inside of me said, "Ari, go to the dark side. Be a fly in the wall. Go where no one's ever gone before in the world of selling." So I pulled my thumb back for a couple of seconds. They started talking amongst themselves, thinking I had left the call.
Sure.
So you might imagine, I know you know the story, what they would have said, but what would you imagine they would have said?
Well, they're probably as good as that call went. They probably are rallying the troops and saying, "Okay, we need to get this thing going. Let's get a purchase order ready and let's go."
That's what you expect after an hour call like that.
Absolutely.
But let me tell you what they said verbatim, word for word. I'll never forget it. It's why we're all here today. What they said was this. They said, we're not going to go with him. Keep using him for more information and make sure we shop someplace else cheaper. Knife in heart twist.
Wow.
I was in a state of shock. I mean, I snapped out of it, and I just hit the off button, and I looked at the wall and I said to myself, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
I was competent. I was heart-centered. I was professional. I wasn't over. I did everything I was taught to do in the book of selling.
Yeah.
And then I had a big epiphany, and you can tell me if you agree with me with this or not, that somewhere along the way, it has become socially acceptable not to tell the truth to people who sell, right?
Yep, absolutely.
It's okay to say things like, sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh, send me information. Wait, we're definitely interested without any intention of buying at all.
Yeah.
Then I realized at that moment, what's going on here? I asked myself, why were they afraid to just tell me the truth? I'd be okay with that. And I realized there is an invisible river of pressure that flows underneath every sales conversation we have with somebody pre-sale. Now you can't see it and they can't see it, but boy, they can feel it. Yeah. And we sometimes can't feel it. And I realized if I can help people become aware of the subtle pressure that flows underneath their sales process and help them remove that pressure consciously, that I'll finally have a breakthrough on helping people create what I call deep trust with other people, build a deep connection so the potential client feels comfortable telling you the truth, and you finally stand with people and you don't chase what I call ghosts anymore, or dehumanize yourself by lowering your authority by having to chase somebody who doesn't call you back, which is something we all hate and it's a horrible experience. So that's really my mission, is to help people break that pattern, double their sales, and without having to sell harder.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's interesting that invisible current river. What the picture that came into my mind was the ocean, because you've got the waves that are coming in that we see, but the dangerous thing is the current
undercurrent
that'll kill you, right? But we don't see it, but we feel it. Same thing on a sales call. What you're saying, I feel something, but I'm going to tell you something else, right?
That's a great metaphor. The undercurrent that could pull you down that you can't see. Oh. That's exactly the metaphor that's happening right now invisibly to thousands and thousands of people around the world who are in business who have no idea how they got here.
And it's interesting because I learned that I don't live around the ocean, but I learned that if you're caught in the current and it's pulling you out, you don't swim against the current. It'll kill you. You swim sideways, you sidestep it, and that's how you get safety. What you've got to share with us today is really a sidestep to what we've been conditioned to do, is learn a new technique. That's not the answer, is it? You want to build trust, and you start from the very beginning of the conversation, and really it's a whole mindset of you're not there to get a sale per se. You're there to discover their needs and see if you're even a fit.
That's right. It's a major, all of my work is very contrarian. I'll warn you ahead of time. It's the opposite of what we've been told for years.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's a conditioning, and all we've been doing is piling on new little techniques on top of a bad thing, which now doesn't apply to this new economy, because I believe now trust is the new currency.
Yeah.
And if you aren't consciously aware of your own self and how you're breaking trust and don't know how to build trust consciously, you're losing and going to be chasing opportunities all the time, wondering why sales is so hard.
Right. And if you're spending your time following up, trying to get somebody to call back, that should be an indicator that something's not right. So talk to us a little bit about how does somebody start changing that paradigm in their head, and what are some strategies that you've shown some people that work?
So first, I think it'd be good to clean out the whole mental hard drive of the myths we have in the back of our mind about what we believe selling is.
Great.
Cleared out and put in some new software.
Yeah.
And the first myth you probably heard of is this one, that sales is a numbers game.
Yes.
That's a pretty common one from the old guys,
Really?
where they said the more contacts you make or the more calls you make, the more sales you make. That's kind of a theory that was sold for a long time. And now we discovered in this economy now, it's not about how many contacts you make anymore. It's about how deep you go on each conversation, not how good you are, how big your network is, and how many contacts you have.
Yeah.
The second one is the idea that the sale is lost at the end of the process. We've been sold for years that the deal has got to be closed, and we lost it at the end. You've been there before. You had a deal pending and it just fell through out of nowhere. Like, what happened?
Yep.
Well, we discovered that now the sale is not lost anymore at the end of the process. It's actually lost at the beginning of the process at hello. And I'll prove it to you right now in a fun way.
Okay.
If someone calls your office tomorrow morning, you pick up the phone, you hear, hi, my name is, I'm with, we are a, what goes through your mind in about 3 seconds?
Yeah. Blah, blah. Salesperson, how do I get off this call?
It's over at hello, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
And I'll make the case today that many of your listeners are losing their opportunities, not at the end of the process, they're losing it at the beginning of the process, which is a complete opposite of what they've been taught to think about. And the last one is that rejection is part of the sales process. That's a classic one where we've been taught by the old sales manager who said, hey, if you can't take a no, if you're not tough enough, if you can't take if you don't have thick skin, you're not made for success.
That's right.
We discovered that rejection is triggered by certain things you say and do that cause the other person to push back on you. And I'll share what those triggers are today, which will blow people away.
Yeah, that's really cool because it's interesting as I think back on my sales career. I've been in sales forever, right? But if you are thinking about selling and techniques and all of that, there's always a pressure inside of you, right? To go, oh, I've got to get this right. But when you turn the tables, which I've done in the last few years with my businesses, we just have conversations to say, are we a good fit? And here's what we do. It changes the game. It really does.
Yeah.
So I hope people are hearing and listening because it really is a game changer. And it does help you unlock, as we say, the sales game, right? It is a game. It's a fun game to play. I enjoy sales calls now. I've quote hated sales for years because I'm an introvert. I don't like rejection. I don't get rejection anymore, right? I figure out somebody might not be a good fit. Great. Go. There's somebody else who can help you. It makes it a lot more fun, doesn't it?
Yep. And I'll tell you how you activate this. And I'll share with you a couple of principles now behind the system.
That'd be great.
Some ideas. So we invented our own, what we call trust-based languaging. Words and phrases to use that replace scripting and everything that we hate to say to people. And so let me kind of walk through an example, but I'll tell you our core principle number one, and that is that your job is to always be diffusing pressure in the process, taking the pressure out all the time to build that trust and not risk losing it. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're in a first call with somebody, qualified potential client, and it's a good first conversation. Call is going well. Chemistry looks pretty good. It looks like they're a good fit. Call kind of comes to a close. What are we normally taught to say to someone or taught to do at the end of a call like that? Not a trick question. What are we supposed to say to somebody when it comes to an end after the first call?
Hey, all right. What would you like to do? Can we schedule another call?
Yeah. We're conditioned and trained to move things where?
Forward
towards the sale. Because we've been wired to move everything towards our goal, which is a sale. But what happens if you attempt to move somebody forward and they aren't ready yet?
Yeah.
What do you break right there behind the scenes?
You're breaking trust.
Absolutely destroying it. So same scenario, our mindset, our approach, our languaging. Call is going well, good fit, call comes to an end. Rather than saying, hey, how about we move forward? What we say instead is this. What we say is, where do you think we should go from here?
Now, Ari, you just gave all the control to him. You're not right. How do you do that? I hear all the objections coming out right now, right?
So where do you think we should go from here?
Mm-hmm.
Shifts power to them. And when you say that to them, they're usually in a state of shock.
They don't know what to do with that.
They're like, what?
Yeah, because you're right. You just diffuse the pressure because they're expecting your next question, right? And you're like, well, where did that come from? What? That's
That
fascinating.
diffuses all the resistance.
Yeah.
They then lower their guard and they start to say things like, well, I've got one more question. Or wait, well, what about, also what comes out is the truth
There
at
you
the
go.
beginning of your process.
Yeah.
Not the
That's
breadcrumbs you get all the way through at the end. You don't know where you stand. This cracks the entire long sales cycle process that we all have. In fact, I'm working on a new book right now called The One Call Sale, which will compress and slash sales cycles from multiple step to one conversation.
Yeah. And don't think it's not possible. It is.
When you realize that the reason why you're chasing people and you're playing the numbers game and they want to say, I want to think about it, it's not because of them or your market, it's because of you, because of your old behaviors you've been trained to do. I'm not saying you're an aggressive salesperson. What I'm suggesting is you're most likely stepping into the conversation, offering your solutions prematurely. You're not going deep enough in their problems. You're not really building trust with them. What you're doing is you're building a fake relationship with them. And this, I'm going to drop a bomb right now. Okay. You ready for this one?
Yep.
Now, we've been taught by the sales gurus, we're supposed to build relationships with people pre-sale. Now, what I discovered is that relationship building and trust building can be mutually exclusive. What I tell my clients is do not build relationships with people pre-sale. Build it with them post-sale. Because pre-sale, they know it's fake anyways. They don't want to be your friend. Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. How's the what? They all know it's fake. Because look, they got a problem they want it solved. When you go to a doctor, your doctor doesn't chum it up to become your friend for you to like him. Because he can't tell you the truth of your problem if he mixes in social norms and business norms. So what I teach my clients to do is to basically focus on their issues. You can still have bedside manner. You can still have empathy, but lay off the fake relationship building because they know it's not real anyways. And what happens is if you mix it in with the process, they won't give you a commitment to move forward.
Yeah. That's interesting. That is so contrarian because we do it because once you start to like me and I start building that relationship, then you're more likely to buy from me because you like me. And what you're saying is, yeah, that's really not true. That's interesting.
Called self-validation. To make us feel good, to show them that we're competent, to prove our resume, to prove our solution. That's all about us.
Yeah.
It's a myth. They have to like us first to buy from us. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
People don't have to like you. What they have to do is trust you. They're totally separate.
That's great. That's brilliant right in there. If you're listening or watching this, go back and just re-listen to that last 3 or 4 minutes because that's powerful. You know right. What?
I'm working on a new bumper sticker right now.
Okay. Yeah.
It's got 4 words in it. You know what they are?
I have no idea.
Doctors don't do coffee.
That's great. Yeah. Seriously, when's the last time you said, hey, doc, I've got a few questions. Let's go out for a cup of coffee, right? I want to pick your brain.
Look,
that's interesting.
This is a shift to a doctor-patient relationship in your sales process. They got a problem. You're the doctor. They said, my shoulder hurts. You say, let me take a look. Oh, right there. Oh, yeah. You know what? You need an x-ray as soon as possible. We need to look at what the source of the problem is and what the impact is to figure out what is going on here, because otherwise I can't recommend to you what solution to do until we know what the problem is. So I'm not giving anything medicine until we figure this out. You're like, okay, doc, see what we do is, hey, how's it going? Great. Look, tell me what's going on with you. What's on your mind? And we'll go from there. And then they kind of tell you their issues. And then you say, great, I can help you with that. It's like, oh, great. And they say, thank you so much. I'll think about it.
Right.
Or they'll say to you, send me your proposal.
Right.
Which is a kiss of death.
That's right. Yeah. Never do that. That's interesting. Yeah. But it's that whole paradigm of the heart surgeon walks in. You're not chit-chatting about the game that your son played last week. He's in there. He's diagnosing so that he can prescribe properly. And I think too many times the old school of selling kind of skip that whole diagnosis thing. I already know what you need. You need my product, right? And so I'm coming at it that way. Totally backwards.
We make assumptions in our mind before we even start the conversation.
Yeah. Well, and part of that is because if I've worked and I've got you on a call, I'd better close the sale or get it, at least move it forward, right? Well, sometimes it's better just to say, you know what, we're not a good fit, or I don't have the solution you really need. Now that I understood what you're looking for, well, my product really won't do that.
When you are wedded to your goal during the conversation, you're not building trust. They can feel that from you a mile away. They know you're not being present. They can tell you're not going deep with them in their world. You're in an urgent state to go to your next step. They can sense it from you, no matter how heart-centered you are, how introverted you are. They can see that you aren't willing to unpack their issues at a level that they themselves have never gone to before. And that's trust building, when someone feels that when someone feels that they are understood at a level that no one else has gone before.
Yeah. Well, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits, years ago, was talking about this of seeking first to understand before you're understood. And I listened to a lot of his cassette tapes and during my University on Wheels days, right? But he would talk about people who really took the time to do what you're saying. And he had one story of a guy landed a major real estate deal because he understood the issues from the client's perspective. And, nobody does that.
Correct.
And it's so simple.
They think they do it by asking some questions about their problem. But it's called the iceberg theory, where they stay at the top of the iceberg, but they don't go down the iceberg. They move forward. And that's the problem, because we've never been taught how to go behind the customer's problem and help them understand the impact of it, have them own it. And when they own it, then they want to fix it. See, it's like a therapist and a patient. If the patient doesn't own the problem, man, they're the worst patients. You got to drag them through it. But when they own the problem, then they're actively involved with solving it. And because the reality is this: look, your potential clients don't really care about how you solve the problem. What they care about is if you're the one to solve it or not.
Thank you.
The entire time they're asking themselves, do I trust him? Do I trust him? Do I trust her? They're not asking themselves, well, let me see the features of that software. Let me get a demo. Oh yeah, that's for us. No, they're asking themselves, are you the one we can trust to recommend to us the answer? See, we're so in love with our solutions. I tell my clients, fall out of love with your solutions and fall in love with your clients' problems.
Absolutely. That is so good. I read a book years ago by Neil Rackham. It's called Spin Selling. And it was situation, problem, something else. Implication needs payoff, right? And he talked about how if you have a scab, most people just want to put a Band-Aid on it. He's like, no. You take it and you pick at it and you make it worse. Meaning you ask questions of the client to say, okay, and what's the implication of that problem if it doesn't get solved? It was a brilliant strategy. And he was a researcher, I think, right? But he was building trust with that client to really understand and help them understand their situation. And then, okay, can we help you? You're delaying the sale in a sense many times because you're getting so close to the client. I think it scares business owners and people, coaches and consultants, because they're like, well, I've got to make a sale this week. If that's your mentality, you're going to be.
It's because they, by default, only know to do that.
Yeah.
They don't have the skills or the knowledge of how to go deeper underneath the client's problem and know the problems better than their clients do. This is about you understanding the impacts and the issues underneath the service level issues that they give to you on the phone. See, on the first call with somebody, when you say to them, hey, so tell me about your situation and what your issues are, they're going to give you a couple of breadcrumbs to chew on.
Yeah.
And you'll take those breadcrumbs, run with them towards your solution. What you have to do is get like a doctor, you have to get comfortable with language. And I'll give you some tips right now. So here's what you say. If someone, let's say you have a first call with somebody, then they're qualified, and you ask them, what are your challenges you have going on right now? I don't know. Let's just say they say to you, we're having challenges with converting our leads into sales right now. Let's just say as an example.
Okay.
Right. So what you say when they give you your first level problem is you say this, you say, tell me a little bit more about that. And you wait.
I love it because we hate silence, Ari.
Yeah, because we're so conditioned and so nervous that if we don't fill in the gaps, we're going to lose the what?
Yeah, we're going to lose the sale.
Because we're still wedded to a goal that doesn't exist in our mind. We've been taught and brainwashed over the years by all, and currently now, people still teach it, that your goal is to move things forward. And I say no. If you attempt to move things forward, you're creating resistance and momentum. Momentum creates pressure, and that shuts you down at the end. Your goal isn't to go forward. Your goal is to go deeper.
That's great. That's great. That should be a tweet. You should tweet that if you haven't already. That is so good, because it's funny because you create pressure in the situation, pressure for them, but pressure for yourself too, because you're sitting here going, how do I move this forward? What do I need to say? What? And that's all backwards.
You're working too hard.
Yeah.
It should be 80% them talking, 20% you talking, not the reverse. Right. And you shouldn't have to pull them forward. You shouldn't put energy into this at all. You should be skilled at being able to connect with them around their issues and then ask them definitive questions like this. For instance, you can ask, is this a priority for you to solve once and for all? Or are you happy to live with it for a while and let it go? And I'm okay either way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're letting them know you don't care about the outcome. It's about them, not about you. If you don't want to solve it, that's fine. Just let me know either way. I'm good with that.
That's right. Yeah.
We'll disengage if you don't want to.
Dude, it is so good. It's so hard to get there when you've been entrenched in the old school, right? But you have to. So I've got some coaches in my business. Case in point, I tell as I deal with prospects, right? And I start the whole conversation. We frame it, and I say, you know what, Ari, if you're looking for somebody to just help you publish your book and get it on Amazon, I'm probably not your guy. There are lots of people who can do that, but that's not really what we do, even though we're a book publisher. But if you're looking for somebody to, and then I go in and I frame what we do uniquely, I say, if that's what you're looking for, then we could probably have a really good discussion. And I let them off the hook at the very beginning. If they don't want to, great. And then they're like, well, no, tell me about that. And then we have a dialogue and a discussion, right? But it's that setting them up at the beginning to go, I don't do that. If that's what you want, I'm not your guy. But let's talk about what you really want, and this is who I am, and then it's just a conversation back and forth. It's so much more fun, easy, and I get so much more information from my prospects because they trust me at that point. They know I'm not trying to sell them something. It's like, well, let's see if we're a good fit.
Look, when you become a black belt at our approach, you start your call with a thought in your mind of, we probably aren't a fit.
Mm-hmm. That's great. How would you like to have that as your opening line?
Well, it wouldn't be verbal. It'd be a mental mindset.
Right.
Because you can't, the problem is that we make assumptions.
Yeah.
They came through LinkedIn. We read their profile. Oh yeah, they're definitely qualified. They fit exactly what I'm looking for. And then our brain goes crazy with, oh my God, this could be a good opportunity for me. This could be the sales. And we've lost it at hello.
Right.
It's over. It's over before you even said hello on the phone, because you're in a different place than they are. Their place is, do I trust this person? And you're thinking, how do I move this from step 1 to step 2? That's two ships in the night passing each other like this.
Passing.
And you wonder why you're chasing the numbers game.
Yeah. And that's the problem is, well, I had this many calls. Well, I moved that one forward, and you're running down this rat maze. And they've already closed the sale in their mind, really, because they don't trust you. It doesn't matter how many times. No wonder they're not responding to your emails or your calls, right?
Yeah, you've got to make the decision to stop selling and start learning how to create deep trust with people. Otherwise, you're going to have some serious pain coming soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So how does somebody listening, how can they start down that path? I know you got the book. They can buy your book on Amazon, Unlock the Sales Game. You've got a couple of programs as well. Talk to us about that. And how can somebody, this is not just a quick fix pill that you're giving somebody. This is a mental shift that really impacts their future and how they go about not just business, but life in general, right? Where can somebody grab some more information?
This is a transformation.
It is.
And,
it really is.
And you've got to be courageous. You got to be willing to look at yourself and go, you know what? Shit, I am doing that stuff Ari told me. In fact, I'm going to ask you right now, all your audience, to remove one keyword forever from your vocabulary as of this recording. One small phrase. Now, if you've been in sales for a while, this might hurt just a bit. Is that okay?
Okay, that's fine.
And we'll end with this, and then I'll let you know how to reach out to me.
Okay.
I'm going to ask everyone in this recording who's listening to never again use the phrase follow up ever again. Follow up ever again.
Okay.
What's the only industry in the world that uses the word follow up?
Probably sales.
Sales. And here we are, heart-centered, not pushy, but we still say, hi, I'm giving you a call to follow up. Or there's a couple more classic ones. Remember from the old days? I'm giving you a call to touch base.
Yeah.
Or checking in. These are all classic lines that associate you with the 1980s stereotype of the one everyone hates. And in your emails, I'm sure you've used email last few weeks, said, hi, I'm writing you to follow a proposal. I mean, you got to break out of your sleepwalking and realize you're stuck in that old mode of using behaviors and languaging, focusing only on the yes. So here's what you do. I'll leave this kind of for everybody. Replace that phrase with this. I'm giving you a call to see if you have any feedback on our previous conversation, any feedback on our last call, any feedback on, see, feedback's going where? Backwards, away from the sale, not forwards towards it.
Interesting.
If you've been using that phrase, get a hold of me as soon as possible. Because so reach out to me at LinkedIn, Ari Galper, connect with me, say hello. Let me know you heard this recording, or go to unlockthegame.com. I've got an intro course there, my book's there as well, and we do offer a free consultation now. I want you to experience what it's like to have a free consultation and not be sold anything. It'll be a whole new experience for you in itself, just to have that conversation, because it might be cathartic for you to see that there is a way to build trust and hello with people.
Absolutely. That's great. And I promise you and assure you that Ari will not follow up with you after that call. So Ari, thank you. This has been unbelievable for me. And I know our listeners as well. So you've just really dropped a few bombs, but really helped change the paradigm of how we need to build trust from the very beginning. And I think it's going to be great. So I can't wait to have this out. I want people to go to your website, unlockthegame.com, and connect with you on LinkedIn, because what you're talking about needs to be proclaimed from the rooftops. So thank you for taking the time to be here today.
Thank you so much.
All right.